has Her Majesty the Queen actually quit her once beloved home, Buckingham Palace? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the heart of London. And in case you're wondering, yes, behind me, that is the Buckingham Palace shop. Now, I'm sure many people watching this will have popped into that particular store. It's great, actually. It is full of all these sort of trinkets and things that you can't find anywhere else in the world. I do actually enjoy having a really good browse round. Got to be honest though, girls and men, it's a little bit pricey when you think about it. But of course, it is rather unique in itself, simply because if you think about it, you can't really buy them anywhere else. And as I say, I haven't actually seen, and I've often wondered this, how spooky would it be if you suddenly looked in and thought, oh, gosh, there's Her Majesty next to me picking up a tin of shortbread. How embarrassing would that be? But as ever, back to your breaking royal story of the day. Well, one of the stories breaking out of London today, and I don't know if you've heard or seen little elements of this, is this. Basically, Buckingham Palace, as I'm sure you know, is currently being refurbished at great expense. It's taking quite a few years. Now, let me just explain. Buckingham Palace has not been refurbished, well, really, since way back from the late 40s, early 50s. If you go in there, and I've filmed in there on many occasions, it is a bit like a creaking hotel. Marvellous and full of history, but you do kind of think, I wouldn't like to look at that rewiring, you know what I mean? That's why, of course, it's taking so long. And there's really no royals currently living there. Her Majesty the Queen, as we know, is out at Windsor, and she went there really because of the pandemic. People thought it would be safer for her out there in the countryside. It's only 25 miles away, Windsor, so it's not a problem. Her Majesty, though, has come back to Buckingham Palace on quite a few occasions now to host various meetings, banquets, that sort of stuff. Well, no banquets as yet, but, you know, great meetings. Now, the story goes that when it's fully refurbished, Her Majesty the Queen will not be moving back to Buckingham Palace. Let me tell you the true story behind that. The story goes that once a refurbishment is complete, Her Majesty the Queen won't be returning back to Buckingham Palace full time. Well, absolutely not. It makes perfect sense. But don't believe as ever what we tell you first here on the channel, what you see and hear online or read in the papers. That's truly not the case. Her Majesty will be spending the occasional night there, maybe 2 or 3 nights, and then returning back to Windsor as her preferred full-time home. Obviously, it makes sense as the epicentre of everything royal in the heart of London for Her Majesty to be based there. It makes more sense for her weekly meeting with the current British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It's easy for him, it's down the road. And of course, Her Majesty likes to do things face to face, person to person. Although she's mastered Zoom, she often says you can read the people in their eyes as to truly what they're thinking. And now, can you imagine if you are the British Prime Minister sitting down with, of course, Her Majesty the Queen for the first time? How terrifying must that be? Refurbishment on Buckingham Palace would or should be completed, well, within quite a few years. And let's be honest, as Her Majesty is 95 years old, I just hope and pray that she gets to see the final results. As for Prince Charles, we do know that he likes the idea of possibly turning Buckingham Palace into something more as a museum, or even perhaps something more thrown open to the public so they can enjoy the vast riches that are on display when you go in to, say, film or attend an event. Prince William and Catherine, we do know, quite like Buckingham Palace, but I can't see it being sold off or disused for many reasons. When you think about it, that balcony says royalty, and that balcony, when all the royals are on it, truly attracts everybody around the world. Neil Sean in the heart of London.